Welcome to this week's Football Fan Show podcast. I'm Danny Harrington, joined by Thomas Moore this week, and we're talking about Mikel Arteta, the Champions League and Europa League semi-finals, as well as the potential sale of BT Sport, the paid subscription channel in the UK that hosts Champions League, Europa League, and Premier League football, as well as a whole host of other European leagues like French Ligue 1 and the Bundesliga as well. Don't forget to join us on Twitter at TFFS Live, where we run polls a lot of the time, and we do our 60-second football news on TikTok.com at The Football Fan Show on TikTok, and Instagram as well, where we are The Football Fan Show on Instagram as well. So go find us there. News headlines, football news headlines in 60 seconds or less, and as well as that, clips, highlights, funny stuff from the show as well. Check out our Twitch, twitch.tv/The Football Fan Show for our live shows, and of course YouTube. Search The Football Fan Show Live, where you can watch clips, and the whole show gets put up on Monday, except yesterday when it was a bank holiday, and I know I'm recording this bit on Tuesday, and we normally do the podcast on Sunday, so sorry about that. Hey, we have got all that stuff coming up, so let's get into it. And we're going to start with the Champions and Europa League semi-finals. The Champions League. Let's go to the Champions League, UEFA Champions League. Semi-finals happen this week. And let's start in Madrid. Shall we start with Madrid?
Go on. Let's start with the obvious one.
Let's start with Real Madrid then, because it finished Real Madrid 1, Chelsea 1. Christian Pulisic with the 14th minute goal, Karim Benzema with the 29th minute goal. I'm going to annoy people and say Chelsea. I think Chelsea might win the Champions League outright. I think City might botch it.
I would say you're right about I think City may fall at the final hurdle. I think they'll get past PSG, because we saw in the middle of the week how PSG players react and how the whole thing falls apart when they get frustrated. That's what happens when you've got a team of superstars, and none of them want to. Obviously, naturally, no football player wants to lose. But when you're a team of football stars, when your brand's built on, like winning, because then, Nike want to come up and knock your door down and say, cool, we want to say that the secret to your success was the fact that you wore our football boots.
Yeah, and your kit was Air Jordan, and your third kit was Air Jordan.
Yeah, I think Man City will get past PSG. Obviously, they've got the away goal. PSG will need to go to the Etihad and score 2 unanswered goals, and that all it would take is for City to score 1, and then PSG would need to score 3,
which I don't see happening.
I don't see them doing it either. Particularly as well, like you saw at the Parc des Princes, it was absolutely insane. The fact, and quite an interesting stat, is that it was the first game where Kylian Mbappe had not had a shot. That says to me at the moment, I would say the best centre-back pairing in Europe at the moment is Ruben Diaz and John Stones.
I was just going to say Marquinhos got the first goal in that PSG City match on the 15th minute. Kevin De Bruyne 64th minute. Riyad Mahrez gave City the lead on the 71st minute, and then PSG got a player sent off on the 77th minute, so they were down to 10 men for the final 13 minutes of the game. The only thing I want at this point, and I know it can't happen, because how the hell have Real Madrid got to the semi-finals of the Champions League? I do not know, under that crap manager called Zinedine Zidane, but they need to get rid of him. I'm sorry, I'm still adamant. I'm still 100% convinced that Zinedine Zidane is not the next great manager. He's just not a great manager. But I don't know. He keeps Chelsea, just do me a favour and win 10-0. Just show the world how crap Zinedine Zidane is, please.
That's just. I really, really, really want Chelsea to spank Real Madrid. I've never thought I would be back in Chelsea.
Neither.
You know,
Same here.
and I feel a bit sick doing so, but it's one of those things where especially with the outrageous things that have happened, you know, there's a foul smell hanging over Real Madrid with their manager and also their owner, their president as well, with Florentino Perez.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yes, it's an interesting one, isn't it?
I think it'd be more fuel for the fire for Florentino Perez to create his own Super League now that he knows that Zinedine Zidane won't be the one to get him the Champions League. I think there's a massive shift in power in place in Europe about who the strongest clubs in Europe are. I think I think Real Madrid and Barcelona have had their time in the sun, and a lot of good players have realised that, you know, those clubs are not the places to be to, you know, become a superstar. You already have to be a superstar to play there. I mean, you look at Ousmane Dembele, you look at Philippe Coutinho, you know, those players who were on the up, but at the same time,
now they're on the way down, kind of. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. It's they're no longer superstar clubs anymore. You know, the allure of Barcelona, Real Madrid has gone.
I was going to say they're their own worst enemy, because they're the ones that have hyped up the transfer fees, hyped up wages. It's all their own doing, you know. But if Real Madrid and Barcelona want to create a league where just they play, then I'm all for it, because quite frankly, I'd like them to go bankrupt as soon as possible. But as we said last week, if it ever did happen, the Spanish government or the Spanish FA would bail them out, because they are a part of the Spanish establishment. Even though Barcelona like to think, no, we're Catalonian, we're not Spanish. Well, the Spanish league bent over backwards to help you keep Lionel Messi, didn't they? So yeah, you're an establishment club, my friends. My friends in Barcelona, you are as part of an establishment as Real Madrid. Which is something that no Barcelona fan will ever admit, because they absolutely hate Real Madrid, because Real Madrid is the establishment club, even though Barcelona are very much a part of that establishment. The moment that they go away, I'm happy. But yeah, Chelsea to win the second leg, not Real Madrid. I think we're getting as we said 2 weeks ago, me and Callum said 2 weeks ago, we predicted a Chelsea City final. It's going to be a Manchester London derby in both. I think the Champions League. We'll get to the Europa League in a moment, but that was our prediction. Manchester versus London in the Champions League final. Manchester versus London in the Europa League final. But we'll get into the Europa League. What? Here's the awkward question. That's a sandwich, right? What's in the sandwich?
It's not a sandwich, actually. It's actually my dinner. I've got enchiladas.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'll let you eat your dinner whilst I blab on for a bit and talk about Manchester United winning 6-2 against Roma in the Europa League.
Ole really pulled the plug out of the back there.
Yeah, I know, really. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on course to win his first trophy. Bruno Fernandes scored the first goal of the game on the 9th minute. And then it was Pellegrini, 15th minute penalty for Roma. Then Edin Dzeko, a name that most Mancunians will know for his stint at City, on the 33rd minute. And then I don't know what Ole said to them at halftime, but in their second half, they went from first gear all the way into fifth. They were just zooming forward. Edison Cavani with the 48th minute and 64th minute goals. Then Bruno Fernandes, 71st minute penalty. Then Paul Pogba on the 75th minute. And then Mason Greenwood on the 86th minute. Now, Paul Pogba has come out and said he wants to win trophies at Manchester United. Well, Paul, if you're serious, do what I suggested a couple of months ago. Sign a new contract and get rid of that twat of an agent. There you go. That's how you win trophies at Manchester United. Now, let's make it awkward. Moving on to the other semi-final.
Please,
Una...
mate, you'll put me off my dinner.
Unai Emery's Villarreal versus Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. Unfortunately, the old boss has come away with a 2-1 win. Both teams, by the way, were down to 10 men. But at the later stage of the game, Danny Ceballos being sent off for Arsenal in the 57th minute, and Etienne Capoue, 80th minute. Etienne Capoue. 80th minute red card. Villarreal took the lead on the 5th minute, and then Raul Albiol with the 29th minute goal, and Nicolas Pepe, 73rd minute penalty. And that away goal rule is crucial. And you know what? You look at the stats, and it looks like a 50-50 game, to be honest with you. Possession is just in favour of Arsenal. They both teams had the same amount of shots, but the key difference is that Villarreal actually converted 6 of their 9 shots on target, whereas Arsenal only converted 2 of their 9. But in terms of passes, I mean, Arsenal can pass them off the pitch. Wow. I say that they completed 465 to Villarreal's 419. And both teams committed similar fouls, similar foul numbers, and both had the same amount of corners. Second leg is there's not much to analyse here. We need the second leg before we can really go at it, I suppose. But I don't know. That away goal rule would give me a quiet sense of confidence if I were an Arsenal fan that they could do it at home. I'd be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think of
one goal, they only need one goal.
Yeah, they need one goal, and it be unanswered. Although if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd probably be wanting 2 or 3 goals, a bit like how we saw off Slavia Prague. That's my aim, is to get 2 or 3 goals, just so that one away goal from them doesn't have much of an impact. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, at home, Arsenal's away record has been better than their home record, and it's the same for a lot of teams in the Premier League. They had a weaker team on Thursday. Arsenal, obviously, they had no recognised striker up front, with both Lacazette injured now and Aubameyang on the bench just getting over malaria. So they didn't have any recognised attacker. Like, obviously, you had Nicolas Pepe, who could play like a false number 9 position. Obviously, he played that position a lot when he was at Lille. But at the same time, one of the things that Lacazette offers, and one of the things that Aubameyang offers, so Aubameyang will always use his speed to get past players. He won't worry about the trickery or doing as many step overs as Pepe will. He's a very direct player. Whereas Lacazette, as soon as a ball comes into the box, as soon as Saka gets towards that byline, Lacazette is already at that back post, at the front post. Lacazette's positioning has always been really good. He's got a hell of a shot on him. He can shoot from anywhere. But a lot of the time he loses his head if his first 5 opportunities don't go the way he wants them to, then I feel like sometimes he could be walking back instead of tracking back. Defence wasn't fantastic. We've got a team where we've got Callum Chambers playing at right back. We've got Granit Xhaka filling in at left back, which, to be fair, all credit to Granit Xhaka, nowhere near his favourite position. He's not the same speed as the modern day fullback should be. But the last few games, he's held it down very, very well.
Yeah.
I think Ceballos' red card was really, really unfair, I think. Because Danny Parejo wanted to slide in to tackle him. Obviously, Danny Ceballos, if you watch the replay, probably the front 2 studs of his boot on his toes made contact with Parejo. But Parejo slid in. He is the one taking the risk. There's no malice in the actual attack itself. Where else is Danny Ceballos supposed to put his leg? His leg is already 3/4 of its way down onto the floor, and then Parejo's leg just ends up sticking in there. So I thought it was very unfair. Same with Capu's red card. I thought it was a tad unfair because you could see that he wasn't going for a 2-foot challenge. He went to go stand up Bukayo Saka, and obviously slipped on the pitch and ended up clattering into him. So I think the red cards are a bit unfair on both sides.
Let's move on from European nights. We'll probably come back to it. We'll definitely come back to it next week. European nights. I prefer Phoenix nights, to be honest, than European nights. But I don't have a BT Sports subscription. But Phoenix nights is available for free on all four. So that's how I spend my Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. European nights might be coming back to free to air football. Free to air television. We'll cover that in a bit. Let's have a look at Spotify. Spotify business news. We don't do business news on this channel. Hey, it's going to get more interesting when we talk about BT Sport, because that really is business news.
Are you calling yourself Bloomberg now?
No, because I'm not a former New York mayor, and I'm not a massive twat. Spotify founder Daniel Ek. Oh, everyone's been calling him Eek or Ek. I've always called him Ek. Ek.
His name is basically how his surname is basically a noise that people make when they don't fancy going out. It's like, oh, do you fancy going to the pub? Ek.
Do you fancy going to the Emirates to watch Arsenal? Ek.
Ek. It's a Welsh person cleaning their throat. Ek.
Yeah. It's like Wayne Rooney with M. Spotify founder Daniel Ek has proposed a takeover, which is quote unquote very serious, and he has apparently secured the funds for a deal. Amid the fallout of the European Super League, Ek said he was interested in buying the club, was an Arsenal fan as a child, and wants to buy his boyhood club. Arsenal legends Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp and Patrick Vieira have joined his bid, but here's the stumbling block. The Cronkies don't want to sell their cash cow. Ek wants to bring a compelling offer in the hopes that the Cronkies hear him out. It's a very serious bid, he told CNBC. He's worth around 3.38 billion. By the way, if you want to know how much Stan Kroenke's worth, he's worth over 8 billion quid. And quite frankly, his wife is worth more than him, because she's also worth over 8 billion quid. So he's made all his money from sports and entertainment, and his wife is a part of the dynasty that created Walmart. So essentially, if he doesn't live in a gold palace, I don't know who does. Because he's got money for days. But he didn't acquire his sporting empire by just spending endless cash like the Abu Dhabi loss at Manchester City, or Fiorentino Perez at Real Madrid. Well, Real Madrid are 2 billion quid in debt, so they've not got money, but Man City is a better example there. So, what do we make of it? Are you as an Arsenal fan going to be paying $9.99 a month for Spotify in the hopes that you can increase the transfer revenue of the club? Or is this, as Arsene Wenger said, deals that are announced in public beforehand never really get done? It's the deals that are announced at the end of negotiations that are more important.
I mean, to answer your Spotify question, I already pay $9.99, but I'll be happy to upgrade it to the family subscription if it gets the deal over the line.
All I hear is the amount of Tottenham fans going, "I'm switching over to Apple."
Yeah, no, I'm 100% for this deal. I think, the Kroenke. There's only so long that the tempers of Arsenal fans could be allowed to boil over at the anger at the owners. Obviously, they're not seeing any investment. They're seeing very little in the way, in moves in the transfer market. We're not competing for as many big players. We seem to offer embarrassingly low amounts of money, for players when we say that we're interested. An Arsenal fan can read transfer news and just say Arsenal are interested in this player, along with Tottenham, Chelsea and Man United. we know that just an inbuilt sensory organ in us just knows that we're going to put in the worst offer out of all of those. We're Arsenal fans have been told for ages that there's no, despite, being profitable most seasons, they don't have the money to invest in players. We're buying players on loan. Yet at the same time, we were told that the same January, we were told that there was no money in the club to buy players. Stan Kroenke is also handing over $1 billion for the LA Rams to build a new stadium for getting into the Super Bowl.
Yes.
So it's a very hand over fist kind of way of doing things. He's known by the Arsenal fans as Silent Stan because he's never come out to actually speak to the fans himself. He's never addressed them. Any kind of communication from the Kroenke family has come from his son Josh, and Josh is your typical, he sounds like your typical billionaire, like, oh, daddy said this, daddy says that. I've got to keep daddy sweet, otherwise I get written out of the will. But I think Arsenal fans have suffered enough. You see how much of a toxic vibe it is around Arsenal and Man United and things like that. Owners who remain silent, they make very little movement. They move the club. They move the club along in what's in their best interest. Whereas if you look at places like Leicester, where they had an owner who was adored, Vichai Srivadhanaprabha, yes.
Okay, now you're just showing off. You're just making me look bad now.
Yeah, here I am nailing the late owner's name, and here you are going Pascal Grubb. So, yeah, but you look at the positivity around that club. When they won when they had their Premier League winning season and subsequent seasons after that, there was just an overall positive vibe around Leicester. Because there was transparency with the owners, there was, there was communication, there was investment, and I think definitely now with this whole Super League fiasco, inadvertently, all these clubs their owners have shown what their true interest is. They've shown that they see the clubs as cash cows, investments, playthings, if you like. They're right at the top and they can move this chess piece along the board. But ultimately, it's the fans that are the worst hit. And if anything, the Super League has just really highlighted which are the greediest owners. Even Kaveh Solikol put it brilliantly. He was saying people dream of winning the Champions League. People dream of competing with the top best in Europe. Whereas this Super League, what are you going to be competing for? The JP Morgan Trophy.
Yeah, we said it in our Super League show, which you can still go watch. It's still available if you want to go watch it. It's on our YouTube channel. It's on Instagram as well. And it's on our Twitter account. Go check it out. It's me and Tom chatting about the Super League. It's a very interesting watch. It's only about an hour, so if you've got the hour, go watch it. Right. I just remembered who was Alisher Usmanov, who was going to buy the club, and he obviously is the owner of Spartak Moscow.
He's one of it
at the moment. Sorry, Dynamo. Is it Dynamo Moscow he owns, or is it Spartak? No, it's Dynamo. He's involved in Dynamo Moscow, but he was one of the people that were looking at buying the club and competed against Kroenke, and he's actually worth more than Stan Kroenke and his wife put together. So Stan Kroenke and his wife are worth around approximately just under 17 billion, whereas Usmanov is worth around 22. But he criticised all the way back in 2012. He said he hated the financial model of Arsenal, saying that we're being forced to sell Robin van Persie to Manchester United if you go all the way back there. So he hated that model even then, and I don't see that changing under somebody like Daniel Ek. Doesn't have the financial capital to sorry Arsenal fans here, but Daniel Ek does not have the financial capital to make a difference. You know, he's not as wealthy as Roman Abramovich. He's not even as wealthy as the Glazers. What he is a fan. But whenever fans buy football clubs, it always goes tits up in the end. And he might be a billionaire. But I see Arsenal continuing down the same model of got to make a profit, got to make a profit, got to make a profit. Even if you have a multi-billion-pound sponsorship agreement with Spotify on your nice red jerseys, instead of Fly Emirates, it'll be Spotify or something like that. I just don't see. You know, you're not going to get the same amount of money that Kroenke could invest. But as Martin Keown put it on the Europa League coverage on BT Sport, it's about whether the Kroenkes want to. And if they don't, he said that they should leave. And I agree with him. If they don't want to invest, then leave. Same with the Glazers at Manchester United. If you don't want to invest, leave. Because quite frankly, those... well, I said it last week. These clubs aren't community assets anymore. They are playthings to billionaires. They're not. If you think a football club is a community asset, you're deluding yourself. Even at a lower league level, it's not a community asset anymore. It's the plaything of an. I suppose I go back to Brian Clough with this and an omnipotent dictator and what Brian Clough said. Was we dictators, we like to be liked. And I think football owners are exactly the same. I think they like to be liked, and when things don't go wrong, they double down on it. And we've seen through bad ownership at certain lower league clubs that the fans have been shut out, and that supporters' trust have been criticised and potentially banned from, well, not their members, but the groups, certainly the organisational side of it. Potentially banned from the clubs.
I think me and you have the unfortunate complication of also supporting a club where the communication between the ownership of the club and the fans is very, very poor. Obviously, of course, Swindon Town, which is why last stream I was saying the next time me and you go to a football game, it'll be a Swindon Supermarine game. I would happily go. Absolutely, I'd be happy to go to a Webbswood Stadium with a total capacity of just under 1,000, but a seating capacity of less than 100.
There we go. Grab that'd be proper football. You have a beer at a.
That would be a beer, a pie, a shirt, and a match program. I'm getting that sorted. I will pour more money into Jez Webb's pocket than I will ever into Lee Powers.
I mean, quite frankly, Lee Power ain't got the he ain't got the money, eh, Lee Power? Anyway, yeah. So apparently the Kroenkes do want success at Arsenal. Well, if you want success, it's simple. As Brian Clough says, as he says in the Damned United, which is not a true to God film. It's quite literally a work of fiction. But as Michael Sheen, pretending to be Brian Clough, says to Sam Longson, the Derby County chairman, look after your road haulage business, write some bloody checks, impress all your friends in the fucking director's box, and leave the running of the club to the people that know how to run it. Me. So to Stan Kroenke, I don't know what you do. Keep an eye on your Walmart business. Keep an eye on your sports business. Go check the LA Rams. Just fuck off and just put the fucking money in. Write some checks. Get your pen out. Dab on your tongue. Write some checks. Sign some players and fuck off. Back to LA. I think that I speak for all Arsenal fans. I think when I say that, I'd like to think, and I'm not even an Arsenal fan.
I'd like to say, mate, you've spent too long in Stoke for thinking you can do that accent.
Oh, I know. I'm not a Midlands guy. Well, he was from the northeast, so. Yes. Stoke come to mind as a weird one for ownership because it's the Bet365 guy who owns the guy that owns Bet365. Well, they're a Stoke company. Their headquarters is in Hanley. They weren't initially liked when they bought Stoke City, but they were certainly well liked when they got them into the Premier League. Anyway, let's talk about. It'll go on.
I'll give you one more example of a club where they absolutely despised the owners and owners who didn't know what they were doing. I will give you a blast from the past. I will give you Blackburn Rovers and Venky's.
They still own that club, don't they?
I'm not sure.
I'm sure they do.
I remember watching this report and the overwhelming revile I remember seeing when the club directors and some of the directors from Venky's stepped out of the car, and you've just got these double hard northwest people just wanting to scream abuse at you. I remember reading about it first time and then finding out what they actually did. They are Sri Lankan chicken farmers.
Indian.
Oh, Indian.
Yeah, Indian. They're from Pune.
Pune
in India, but they own 99.9%. They're like Dettol, 99.9%.
Domestos owns your club.
I think Blackburn would rather that than Venky's, but they still own the club. They're still around. Blackburn Rovers haven't. I remember they sacked Sam Allardyce and replaced it with Steve Keane.
Oh God.
That was like them sacking the head teacher and putting the PE teacher in charge.
That was like your substitute teacher being the caretaker for the day.
Oh, wonderful.
Which I remember one time in Holy Family when me and you went to school back in the day. I remember that happening.
I cannot remember anything beyond the probably age 11. I got before that. Anything before that, I've long since forgotten. And then I remember Blackpool hated their owners as well. So yeah, that was another one when they crashed.
What was his name? I want to say Royston or something like that.
Carl Royston, was it?
I think so, because I remember after their last game of the season, the fans tried to storm the director's
Owen.
box.
Oh, no, it was Carl. Yeah, Carl Oyston or Owen Oyston. Yeah, so...
I remember they tried to storm the director's box, literally come in for blood.
Yeah, and... because... They did not do well. Mikel Arteta, sticking with an Arsenal theme. It's seemingly the Arsenal fan show. AFTV, we're coming for you. Arsenal. Mikel Arteta. How has he not been sacked? That's my question. That's, and I don't just say that to be outrageous. I am outrageous, but I don't just say that because you lost to your old manager 2-1 again in the Europa League. You're currently behind Leeds in the Premier League in 10th place. Your owners clearly think you deserve to be at the elite level of football when you get transferred. To be fair, we talked about this, so go back and check it out. I think either your owners are the most deluded people in the world, or obviously I personally feel that Mikel Arteta has taken on too much too soon, and that maybe he should have started at a club like Middlesbrough in the Championship or something like that. Something easier than this, so they could get promoted, and then he could earn his place in the Premier League. It just feels that he's come in too soon, and a few Arsenal legends have spoken out about this. According to this article from The Sun, Martin Keown has claimed that Mikel Arteta's tactics during the defeat to Villarreal could have got him sacked. So that was them going against Villarreal, and then TalkSport, who are known for baiting Arsenal fans, quite frankly. What was that? The Daily Arsenal on TalkSport Drive for nearly a decade when Arsene Wenger was manager. Ray Parlour said Mikel Arteta will get sacked if he doesn't learn. So, starting to see a few Arsenal legends not stick the knife in per se, but kind of get the daggers cleaned.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because I'm a believer of, you need to give things time. You could argue saying that he's had what
He's had
a
over a
season and
year
a
now, hasn't he? He's had over
but
a season.
yeah, but think about Jurgen Klopp. How many seasons was he there at Liverpool before they eventually got the Champions League? How many seasons?
2 or 3, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. How many seasons was Arsene Wenger at Arsenal before he started winning stuff? Again, about 2 or 3. He came in what, 96? By 99, they had won the Premier League.
And actually, if you look at Alex Ferguson at Manchester
Mm.
United, he was nearly sacked in 1990 as Manchester
Yeah.
United manager, and then they went on a mammoth run and won everything. So
The problem is with Arsenal fans and fans in general is the fact that once they experience bad times and the change comes in, they've got no patience. They want everything done now. They think they'll dream that they will spend the whole time waiting for a new manager or a new owner to come in, thinking everything's now going to be fine, it's going to be smooth sailing, and not expect any hurdles along the way. What we've seen so far is it's a club with zero communication from the owners. It's a club who now do business with agents who previously they may not have done business with, i.e. Gia Karabchan. Or is it Gia Karabchan? I can't remember.
All I know is that he's a twat.
You've got... It's a difficult one for Arteta because he's trying to do the best with a bad situation, but I think with his tactics as well, he's been a bit foolish. Like, he's trying to galvanise the system, but sometimes what you've got to do is you've just got to play it safe. Like, if you're 2 down, don't wait till the 70th minute or the 75th minute to send on another attacker. You could tell there was a massive shift in the way the game went when Gabriel Martinelli started playing. You hear all these stories about saying, oh, managers don't like these players or anything like that. At the end of the day, they don't have to like them. Martinelli and Arteta are hardly 2 people you're going to find down at the Sun Inn doing darts on a Sunday. They are more, but for the good of the club, any kind of animosities or personal dislikes or professional dislikes need to be put aside for the good of the club. And you could see how the dynamic changed when Martinelli came on, because there was someone who was running after every single ball. He knew he'd have to get in behind, but he also knew he'd have to support Xhaka if needed. I think Arteta's inherited a poison chalice of a club. I think he's inherited a club that were 50% relieved but 50% sad that Arsene Wenger went. A club that was 100% glad that Unai Emery won. So there's never been a there's never been a proper feel-good factor around Arsenal for a very, very long time. Probably for about the last 10, 12 years. Definitely, I would say Mikel Arteta, if he wants to carry this on, he's got a hell of a job on his hands. I'm a full believer of getting him sorted. I think the reason why he hasn't been sacked yet is, if you've noticed, when Arsenal have appointed new managers, they want to have a manager for another... If they want to remain profitable, they want to have a manager for another 10, 15, 20 years. They basically want another Arsene Wenger, because they know that if they can get him, if they can have a manager like that, then... look at Chelsea. How much money do you think they've paid out in compensation to pay managers' contracts off? You look at other clubs you're looking at other clubs who are doing the same. Arsenal don't want that. Otherwise, it's going to be, it's going to completely collapse their financial model, and the way, and their profitability will fall down. So they're not going to want to be chopping and changing managers every time. But at the same time, the fans have got to realise. The fans really, really, really have to realise that, this is a shift. A shift doesn't take a few weeks or a string of good results to get rid of. It takes time. It takes years. Brendan Rodgers inherited Jurgen Klopp inherited quite a drab Liverpool team when he handed it over. But over time, he got people in. He got people who weren't necessarily superstars and could bring them up to be superstars. I mean, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's in what, his second or third season as Manchester United manager?
I think it's longer than that. I think it's third or fourth.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it's his third or fourth year. He's been there quite a while now at this point. But yeah, to your point, yeah.
At the same time, they don't. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, obviously Man United had a really tough. Yeah, so Man United have had they had a pretty torrid time at the start when they were going through all their different managers, finding the proper successor to Ferguson. But as you can see, just by evidence of this season, all right, they may have not had some results that go that way, but you look at the team they've built together. They've got a young core. They've got a mixture of experienced heads. They've got a brand new goalkeeper who's keeping David De Gea on the bench, which rewind 5 years ago and that wouldn't happen.
Mm.
But because they've trusted and invested in the process, that period of transition for them, all right, it's been a 7-year period of transition since when Alex Ferguson was in charge. But now they're starting to come good. They're second in the Premier League, whereas Man United, we were seeing tottering around 5th, 6th and 7th. Arsenal have got to go through their phase of tottering around some shit parts of the table before they start actually coming good. I think what we need to do is stop looking towards Lacazette and Aubameyang as our star players. We need to be looking at we need to bring in other attackers. I know we've got youth, we've got Balogun, we've got Nketiah. They're 19 and 20. Their time will come. If we're expecting them to be 19 and 20 and expecting them to be Mbappe from the word go, then you're setting them up to fail. You need to be investing in strikers now who are probably like 24, 25, coming into their prime, good goal scoring record. You need to be doing that now because, let's face it, Aubameyang is 32 now? He's got probably another 2 more seasons before he's in the MLS or China. You've got Lacazette, who's 30 later on this year. When it's the 19-year-olds that are shining, like your Smith Rowes and your Sakas, then you're going to need someone who's probably a little bit older, a little bit more experienced to guide them. Because at the end of the day, when you get to the 30s, I'm sorry to put some of these football players in this position, but do you see any of them caring beyond just earning their retirement money? Is that why do you think Edison Cavani decided to sign a 1-year deal as opposed to a 2-year one? He's basically saying, I'll do it to say that I've done it. It's a big club. They'll pay me loads. And then I'll go back to Argentina where I'll play, I'll be a big fish in a small pond and everyone will love me. I think in your 30s, when you get to playing football in your 30s, you're just concerned about earning your retirement money.
I think there's definitely a case of hitting the wall when you're in your 30s. I think there have been good players in their 30s
absolutely,
that still turn up, but I think it's become few and far between. It's become much more of a. I think it was more prevalent in. I mean, we're not that old, but I say our day. But it was much more prevalent in our day that you could play on into your. I think the best example of a player in their 30s still kicking ass is Vardy at Leicester, and he ain't going anywhere because he's just.
Yeah.
They love him, and he loves that club. He doesn't care about getting a big payday. That's what happens when you're a working class lad that gets an opportunity at the elite level.
And even then, an even better example of players who are still playing at a top level, even reaching into their 40s, was Ryan Giggs.
Yeah, but we don't talk about that one. Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, we don't talk about him, but yes. No, I know what you mean with Ryan Giggs. Yeah, he didn't play until he was 40, 41?
I remember seeing a video on YouTube of him. Someone uploaded a video of Ryan Giggs at 39 rinsing past for pace this young fullback. And it's a 41-year-old man, and he had literally turned on the afterburners. It must have been.
It's very few and far between.
If I'm allowed to make a bit of a risky joke on Ryan Giggs' behalf here, the only reason I could see him running that quick is if his brother's missus was on the goal line.
Now that is not something we can be sued for because it actually happened, and there's no injunction on it because that was removed years ago. So yes, if you don't know why we don't like talking about Ryan Giggs, just use Google. Yeah, I don't want to be. I don't want to. you're aware of who Adrian Durham is on TalkSport, right? And the Drive
Mm-hmm.
present. I don't want to go down the Daily Arsenal route and try and bait Arsenal fans into calling, because I don't want that. That's just cheap. That's just cheap. But you know, I just hate Arsenal fans that were just like, "Oh, Wenger out," and it's like, well, look at you now, Wenger left. At least with Wenger, you probably would have still been 5th for a couple of years, not 10th, but probably won a few more FA Cups. At least, let me throw this hypothetical at you, and you can. By the way, you can say that you don't deal in hypotheticals if you like, but if Frank Lampard had won the FA Cup and not Mikel Arteta, 1, do you think Frank Lampard would still be Chelsea manager, and 2, do you think Arteta would have survived?
I don't think it's a question of whether he'd survived or not. I think it'd be a case of he'd still be in the job, but just no trophy. Having said that, though, it's hard to tell if what was keeping his job was the promise of European football.
Yeah.
Which ultimately it was. All right, it's the Europa League, but money's money at the end of the day. You know, if you're going into a meeting with the owners saying, "I'll get you into this tournament so we can have the money," and you don't do that, you're basically telling billionaire owners saying, "Sorry, I couldn't make you money," you know, and that's it. And
as we've learned in the last couple of weeks, they like making money.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, there's no stronger string of words to make a billionaire owner want to hand you your P45.
Yeah.
So this is a I mean, if it meant that, you know, Frank Lampard stayed on and had an all right season, and you know, Arsenal got Thomas Tuchel with the results that are going, oh yeah, I'm for it.
Fair enough.
But
that's what's happened in an alternative universe somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. But Thomas Tuchel he's completely smashed it at Chelsea.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that again has happened with Chelsea once they realised they've got the superstar drawing power is that their young players have had to take a back seat because, I mean, don't get me wrong, like Mason Mount has come really, really good at Chelsea, but at the same time, when you've got people like Tammy Abraham warming a bench, despite the fact that he carried Chelsea's attack during their transfer embargo, you know, and then you've spent 50+ million on Timo Werner. Still, the best bit of business Liverpool ever did was driving up the price of Timo Werner, so that now he looks just completely dog show.
Crap. Yeah.
Yeah, but but then again, you got to look at the Chelsea attack. Like, you know, put some respect on Giroud's name as well. He ain't the quickest, but my God, his left foot could kill a small child.
I have to say, I've been wrong about Giroud at every single point. As someone that thinks that thought for a very long time that he was average, it just pains me to say that Oliver Giroud might just be not one of the bottle. He might just be a special one. He's a damn good striker. Okay, I admit it. He belonged in that French team.
You plonk a ball anywhere in that box. His head, his boot, his big old French nose is getting on it.
Jeez, but you know what?
It pain. I can see it paining you. I can sense the bile rising in your throat at having to admit that.
I'm gonna get a therapy after this. I'm gonna need some serious counselling, because it's like, oh no, I just said Oliver Giroud was a good player. Having called him bang average for so long, and just like I completely like how he won the World Cup. Actually, to be fair, on this show I said, like, how did he win the World Cup with France? He shouldn't have been anywhere near that squad. And yeah, okay, I was wrong. Okay, you know what? No one likes to admit it when they're wrong, but okay, I was wrong. But I've been right about other things. Look at Derby County. Before we get to our next talking point, which is a bit of business news, BT Sport. And yes, we're going all corporate. I should get a tie out and do up my buttons or something. I should do up the button of my shirt. Wear my tie.
I've got my work suit hanging next to me. I can get that on if you like.
Where's a tie? Have I got a tie? I don't know. I don't think I've got a tie anywhere.
Stop. Can you stop saying tie? Because you remind me of that little guy from AFTV. Because like literally, as I watched AFTV because it's entertaining as hell when we win and sore as hell when we lose. But at the same time, there was, oh my God, I remember they were doing back before COVID happened. You know how Sky Sports and BT Sports do the slows of the players before they go to a commercial where they say first half up next live, and they do the slows of the players getting off the bus.
Oh yeah.
There was a massive crowd, and all the players are getting off the bus, and you could see Ty in the background doing it, like got his headphones on, looking at the camera, doing all this, like pretending he's in the zone, like trying to be one of the players. And I'm just like, he's like the kind of kid that, you know, he copies exactly what his big brother does because he thinks his big brother's the absolute world. And then when he gets to his 20s, he realizes how much of a twat his brother was, and glad he didn't turn out like him.
I will find a tie for our business chat a little bit later on. I might as well just undo my top buttons now. I just I'll just sit there like Simon Cowell for the rest of it. Get all my not chest hair out. Like Simon Cowell. Oh, I've got to put me shorts up to my tits. Let's talk about. It's been a big week in German football. RB Leipzig's manager Julian Nagelsmann is going to join Bayern Munich at the end of the season. He's going to be there for next season. World record fee, 25 million euros. Worth it or not worth it? I suppose that's the question. I would say worth it because, you know, he's great, but he also lives in Munich, so he has a house there and he's from there. The only twinge of disappointment that I have, and I have to go back into my drawer for this. The only twinge of utter disappointment, Julian, is that you are of course a former youth team player at the greatest club in Bavaria. So why did you go manage Bayern when you were an 1860 youth player? Jesus Christ. Come manage us. Come manage us in the German third tier. We need your help. We're currently third in the third division. But yes, he loves, he loves Munich, so it made all the sense in the world that he would go there. 25 million euros is now a world record fee to be spent by any club on a manager, and you would have thought Real Madrid would have been the ones to pay that kind of fee, considering how they like to inflate everything. So is that obviously that's a good appointment. I don't think I've seen one negative comment about that appointment. It's a no-brainer for me. Oh wait, no, I have seen negative comments. They're all from Spurs fans saying, "No, he doesn't want the challenge of managing the greatest team in North London." Blah blah blah. Where? And you know, that's the only negativity I've seen around this appointment. But quite frankly, from one phone call I heard on TalkSport, one Spurs fan wanted frickin' Neil Warnock in charge. So quite frankly, you just. Anyway, yeah, it's a great appointment.
Funny. They're not
Yeah, go on.
They're not even the best team in London. They're not even the best team that plays in white.
No.
So
I wouldn't even say they're the best team in North London either. Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
My God.
I mean, Wealdstone and Barnet. Come on. When you got Wealdstone and Barnet there, they're the two best teams in North London. Without a shadow of a doubt.
I mean, to be fair, Barnet have just dropped out of the
National League.
National League.
Yeah, they've just been. Well, we don't know if they've been relegated because everything beneath them has been suspended. So we don't actually know if anyone's getting relegated from the National League. And plus, it looks like Dover Athletic might get kicked out of the league as well. And obviously, you had Macclesfield go out of business before the season even started. So. Lots of questions to be asked there. But back to Bayern. Great appointment. But do you know anything about Jesse Marsch? The RB Leipzig, the new RB Leipzig boss, who is the manager of Red Bull Salzburg.
Oh,
So I don't know if
he's the American guy.
Yeah, he is the American guy. I hope he's not like Bob Bradley at Swansea, who was like, we went for the goal ball, so, whatever, the goal, whatever. Anyway, yeah, Bob Bradley was freaking annoying. But already a German speaker. He's managing the Austrian Bundesliga. He is a former assistant manager at Leipzig. I don't know. You're not a fan of Formula One, are you, Tom?
Not really.
So Red Bull have their own team in Formula One, right?
Oh,
they've got a junior team called Toro Rosso. Well, now it's AlphaTauri, but it was Toro Rosso. And I just get the feeling that Red Bull Salzburg is the Toro Rosso of the AlphaTauri of their football division, with Leipzig as the main Red Bull team. Then you've got Salzburg underneath. Then you've got their Formula 2 team as New York Red Bulls or something like that. So
yeah,
they have a system.
It's kind of like how New York City FC plays to Man City.
Yeah,
it's like go earn your stripes and go chat to your. It's like when you get a new job, go talk to the supervisor or team leader, get them to find you something to do. And after you've done that really well, the manager just comes along and be like, cool, you can come hang with us now. Come sit on this table.
So, yes, RB Leipzig have announced that American. I'm not. America has some very good footballers at the moment, considering that I remember the rant that one of their pundits had after they lost to Trinidad and Tobago and didn't qualify for the 2018 World Cup. I remember that rant on ESPN. I think everyone's seen that rant from ESPN. It was fantastic. I can't remember the guy's name, though. He talks a heck of a lot of sense, though. I can't remember what the guy's name was. I'm going to have to find it, because it is a mammoth and epic rant that made him world famous. But he's set to become the new that's it. Taylor Twellman? Twellman? That's it. That's who it was.
God, even the English names you're bloody struggling with tonight.
I know, Jesus Christ. Taylor Twellman. That's who it is. His rant. Go check it out if you haven't watched it. It's hilarious. But yeah, Marsh is going to start his role on a 2-year deal when Nagelsmann leaves Bayern at the end of the season. The executives at Leipzig said Jesse knows the club, the city of Leipzig. Well, he is a former assistant manager there, as I said. And above all else, the club and the playing philosophy. I mean, they do have a set playing philosophy with the Red Bull clubs that pretty much New York Red Bulls, Red Bull Salzburg, and it's not Red Bull Leipzig, it's Rasenballsport Leipzig. All play the same way, which is like lawn ball sport, by the way, in German. But
makes me wish that they came in and did buy Swindon Town when they had that rumor going around.
I think they're more likely to buy. There were rumors as well that they were going to buy Charlton Athletic, and I think that's more likely. Red Bull London or something like that.
That would have been nicer though. I know Red Bull Swindon doesn't roll off the tongue as well, like Swindon Town. But to be fair, no. If we knew at the time what was coming our way, I think sacrificing the town part would have been a small trade-off to have the amount of money that they would have thrown at us.
Yes, exactly. And we'd have been the main club because they'd have got us into the Premier League and we'd have made the most amount of money. So Jesse Marsh on course to be the next. Well, he has been appointed the new manager of RB Leipzig. Leipzig have been on the rise in Germany. I know German football fans don't like Leipzig because of their ownership model. It completely spits in the face of the 50+1 rule. But they're on the rise. This is an appointment, a guy that knows the club, that knows the Red Bull philosophy. He's going to go there. And we'll have to wait and see. We can't really make a judgment on him. We can only really judge him on his results at Red Bull Salzburg. And they've been Austrian champions for yonks, to be honest, because they're the biggest. Well, not the biggest team, but the richest club in Austria for sure. And I'm just looking at where they're at in the Austrian. I mean, they won it. They won it last season. They won it the season beforehand. They won it in 2017. They won it in 2016. They won it in 2015. They won it in 2014. So is it like, the Austrian Bundesliga is essentially the Salzburg League. Despite Rapid Vienna and Austria Vienna being there, it's not. It's Red Bull Salzburg currently top ahead of Rapid Vienna, who are second, but it's a 7-point gap at the top of the table for Salzburg, and they're in the Champions League this year as well, which complicates things when you own two clubs that are in the Champions League. Because I didn't think that was they had to be in two different sets of. They couldn't be drawn together. Because you're not allowed to be drawn together. If you're owned by the same company or the same group, then you're not allowed to be drawn together. Quite frankly, if the clubs are run independently, just let them play each other. We mean business here on the Football Fan Show, and despite still wearing my Swindon Town t-shirt underneath, I have my blazer on, tie on. In fact, I feel very uncomfortable. Can I just take this off and just, you know what? I really hate business, so quite frankly, hang on, I can fix this.
Oh, you fucking...
There we go. Rock and roll. Rock and roll. There we go. And if anybody comes into the chat and asks why I've got a tie on my head, this is how people should dress for business meetings. Also, and I should say, as this is a business meeting done virtually, I am not wearing anything beneath the waist. Let's talk BT Sport. This is a big one. I feel like a goof with this on my head. I got to be honest. I'm backing out. I made Tom wear a tie, and I've backed out completely. I feel like a dick.
That's fine. This is my daily bread and butter, so I don't mind.
You look like Jim White. What's the breaking transfer news?
Oh, let's go over to Geraint Hughes, who's got some breaking news for us at the Emirates. What's happening, Geraint? Is the deal over the line?
That sounded more Geordie than it did Scottish. Let's talk BT Sport. Now, I'm sure you are just one of the fans that is, like every other one, that's pissed off that free-to-air Europe. There isn't any free-to-air European football coverage anymore. We get the Champions League and Europa League finals on YouTube. That never used to happen. Back when I remember the good old days when Manchester United fans would sing at Old Trafford, Thursday nights, Channel 5. Thursday nights, Channel 5. Wonderful, wonderful times, eh? But could it be coming back? BT Sport, this was actually first broke, as far as I'm aware, by What Culture, because they covered the wrestling side of it. And BT Sport is has the coverage of WWE in the UK. If you didn't know, I don't watch it.
I still dabble in it, and I must say Roman Reigns' new theme melts my face. I love it.
Didn't even realise he had a new one. That's how out of the loop I am on it. But BT,
you need to go watch it.
This has been reported. I should say, I saw it first at What Culture, but it has been reported by the Telegraph and the Financial Times, and now it's been picked up on by literally everybody. But BT has confirmed that it is in talks with several companies about the future of its sports broadcasting arm. The group says it's exploring ways to generate investment, strengthen their sports business, and help take it to the next level of growth. And BT said early talks were being held with a number of select strategic partners. Now, it is not clear whether this means they are selling a stake in BT Sport or selling the whole thing. And the report is, and sorry to bore you, this isn't really football. They just want to focus on their broadband and phone business. That's what they want to focus on. I have no idea why BT ever got into the TV game. That just seems very unlike them. But then again, that's not the biggest blunder that they've ever done. But I think they were forced to sell BT Cellnet. There you go, good old throwback for you. And now they pay Kevin Bacon to do the EE adverts. Anyway, so we don't know whether it's the full sale of the very rock and roll, by the way. You're wearing gold,
suits.
and I'm wearing gold. There we go. Yes, gold and gold. Now we need is somebody called Sullivan, and we'd be Gold and Sullivan. Oh. So BT.
Well, I mean, you had a pink tie. We just needed someone called Floyd.
Do I look like a gammon?
Pre-cooked.
Not angry yet. Not angry enough to be called that yet. The Daily Telegraph reported it on Wednesday that Amazon, Disney, and DAZN, who are this sports streaming service in the United States, and apparently made a play for Matchroom Boxing to take all their fights off Sky Sports, which means Anthony Joshua might be on DAZN very soon. And DAZN are a British company, but don't operate their streaming service currently in the UK, but they're much bigger in America, which is their main market of interest. Amazon, Disney, DAZN are in talks with BT, but an unnamed British broadcaster might also be in the running. That sent speculation wild. So take this, grab your salt, get an unhealthy dose in the palm of your hand, and then just swallow it. Because ITV are in the race to buy BT Sport, apparently, according to The Sun, the Daily Mail, This Is Money, The Telegraph. ITV are apparently very, very interested in buying BT Sport. So it's been a long time, and I don't know if you'll even remember this, Tom, but I had these channels back in the day. Back in the day when ITV Digital was a thing, and the PG Tips monkey and Johnny Vegas wasn't the PG Tips monkey, he was the ITV Digital monkey, and it was Johnny Vegas alongside him. ITV have dabbled in sport before with not only paid subscription television channels, lest we forget ITV Sports Select, which showed Premier League matches and made you pay for the privilege of watching those matches, much like Prem Plus on Sky, even though you pay like a fortune already. We're getting a nice tour. Nice tour of the old room there. Hang on. So we get. I'll save you privacy by switching off the camera for a moment.
There we go.
So ITV have dabbled in pay TV sports before, and the thing is, it hasn't ever really worked for them. Of course, they were the home of the Champions League free-to-air for a long time, but they owned those rights alongside Sky, and they got... Initially, it was two free games a week, both with English teams, and then it became one free game a week. It became less and less. And there were rumours that ITV and Sky were looking at a partnership to potentially buy the Champions League rights from BT. So it looks like if ITV could buy it, the hint is that there would be at least one free-to-air Premier League match a week. That the Champions League matches involving English teams could potentially return, British teams could return to free-to-air television. I've always maintained that the idea that I don't understand why one Premier League match isn't shown on free-to-air television. I think it makes massive commercial sense, but I don't know. Maybe you disagree with me on that, but. There is another angle with this, and that is that the Premier League's bidding rights are not going to be taking place because, and this news broke before BT announced that they were potentially selling their sports channels. So the sale of the rights from 2022 to 2025, it's apparently not going to happen. They want to extend the current rights deal because it's meant to happen every 3 years, and they want to extend the current rights deal because there was a drop in revenue the last time, and they're very scared that the pandemic will create another, probably even bigger drop in broadcast TV deal rights and revenue. So, does it... would obviously we're operating in a hypothetical world, but one, do you think free-to-air Premier League football would work? And second, how desperate are you to get the Champions League and Europa League potentially back on free-to-air television?
I want to give a simple answer, but I know I can't, because of how dynamic the actual idea of free-to-view Champions League football would be. I think what would happen there is that a lot of there could be some revenue lost for the Champions League. I mean, well, I say could be, there will be. You know, the fact that
I think
they
every league is going to have to accept a drop in revenue.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, you know, we've spoken about the greed of the owners, but that's obviously distracted from the snakes in the grass that are currently occupying UEFA. So what needs to happen? I think for the common fan, it's a good thing. You know, it means you can watch a game, you know, one game per week. You know, if you're a casual football viewer, not a diehard fan, because that sounds to me like what they may be trying to. ITV are trying to do it in order to provide entertainment for, you know, the common viewer. You know, maybe not a sold football fan. Therefore, they may be trying to bring a new dynamic, a new audience in. At the same time, I think in terms of, will probably never make a return on that money.
No.
You know, so it could be a bad bit of business from ITV. They'll probably make it back through advertising revenue. You know, the companies that want to have advertisements on at half time during the commercial breaks. You know, that's the only way I can see them making money back from that. So it's a bit of an odd situation. I mean, if the great thing about it, I mean, sorry to go back to WWE again, but obviously if BT Sport do sell it to ITV, then we've got another Monday Night Wars happening, because obviously then that would mean WWE would be on the same channel as AEW in the UK.
From a wrestling point of view, yes, that is quite interesting. Not that I don't think ITV particularly care about professional wrestling.
Not at all.
But apparently, according to this article, we can already rule out Facebook and YouTube or Google as a potential bidder for Premier League rights. Facebook and Google are apparently, that's a non-starter. They're not interested in acquiring the rights to the Premier League. Which, to be fair, the last time, sorry, go on.
I was going to say, could Apple or Amazon step in for the full rights?
Well, that's what So the Premier League took a gamble when they last did the TV rights, because BT initially hiked up the price of the Premier League rights because they came in all guns blazing and going, we're going to usurp Sky as the biggest broadcaster in sport. And so they tried to buy and acquire much more rights than, say, ESPN, their predecessor, had, which BT Sport bought, by the way. So BT bought ESPN's UK division. Why would Disney... I'm just questioning the logic here. Why would Disney buy a channel back that they'd already offloaded? Because ESPN is owned... Its biggest shareholder is Disney. So why would they want to buy a channel that they've already sold off? Like, I don't understand I think if the Premier League are expecting, you'd be able to stream your Premier League matches on Disney Plus or something, never going to happen. Never going to happen. Why would Disney do that? That makes zero sense within their marketing or business strategy. If you're thinking that, maybe Disney would buy back BT or the BT Sport ESPN content, maybe. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. I don't think sport is a huge part of Disney's strategy. And you've also got to remember that they just acquired all of Fox Sports businesses, and Fox Sports own massive rights in Europe. particularly Dutch football. They own Fox Sport are the main broadcaster of the Eredivisie in the Netherlands, and Disney own it outright, which actually means they own a portion of the league as well, as the rights are owned by a private company that are owned primarily by Disney.
I think there you may have answered your own question. Why would Disney go back into it? Because they've already got such a wide audience and a huge market base to which to build on. The fact that they already own so many companies or have a power play in so many companies that are directly involved in sports. I mean, if you think you were to have the streaming rights for football onto Disney, if you add that on, for example, let's say a couple of games a week you can watch on Disney Plus, for example.
Yeah.
That would make a lot more sense in the fact that you've already got so many, such a variety of viewership for Disney Plus. You've got the diehard Disney fans. You've got parents who let their kids watch it. You've got Star Wars fans with The Mandalorian and all the other Star Wars content. What you're then doing is you're then adding a different market to that streaming service. Whereas if you look at Netflix, like Netflix will obviously always offer films, documentaries, TV series. That's an all-round streaming service, but they all cater to a similar market, like people who binge watch, like casual viewers who are into that. Whereas if you start introducing sport to it, then you get people whose only interest in TV is sport. So if they've already got such a large, let's say, portfolio in sport with the rights to the Eredivisie, owning a large part of ESPN, dominating Fox Sports and things like that, to get the British broadcasting rights for, Premier League and Champions League would make a lot of sense to them, adding it to their streaming service, bringing in, because if you think about it, how much does it cost to have BT Sport or Sky Sports added to your TV broadcasting deal? It's an extra, what, £20-30 a month?
Yeah, so I was spending about £25 a month on Now TV, which the regular retail price of of Sky Sports is £33, and then BT Sport, if you don't have a BT subscription, is £25. So you're roughly paying about that's per month, by the way. That's not like £33 a year. It's £33 a month. So it's roughly about, what is it, 70 odd quid a month on just Sky and BT. You throw Amazon into that as well for the games that they've got over Christmas. That's an extra £10, and then you work out to paying something like what are we? It's 70 odd quid times 12, so around in just under £1,000 a year for football, which I think is ridiculous.
Yeah, but at the same time, how much do you pay for Disney Plus? Disney Plus is what, £10 a month?
Yeah,
if that. So if you think you can get Disney films, you can get Star Wars, you can get other streaming bits, and you get football let's not forget other sports as well, because obviously BT, as much as football dominates their platform, they have other sports and shows coming up on there as well. If Disney wanted to do that, then you're bringing all these things into one place. You're offering so much more and attracting a different kind of audience, an audience, bearing in mind, who would quite happily pay the £10 a month to get their sport fix, as opposed to having 50 to 70 odd pounds added onto their broadband package. Even if Disney wanted to hike the price up to say, okay, you've got different levels of membership for Disney Plus, and the top level will give you the sport. Even if they put that up at £30, that's still less of a dent in the pocket of the common fan than it would be if they had it added onto, a BT or Sky broadband and TV package. So there are
yeah, go on.
So it makes sense for all parties involved. Obviously, the people viewing it don't pay as much, and Disney bring an entire new market into the fold of their streaming services. Because at the moment, the only people who would watch things on Disney Plus are people who are aware of the things on Disney Plus. all you have to do, you don't have to spend near as much on marketing if you're saying, okay, we're now broadcasting Premier League football, because every football fan in the world are aware of the clubs that play in the Premier League. So that is a lot more. So that is a lot more potential subscriptions waiting to happen in my book. I think Disney getting involved maybe uncanny, maybe unlike them, but it would be a smart piece of business in my book.
I just don't see it happening on their streaming service. If that's what the Premier League is banking on, I just don't. Why would they? It just doesn't fit with their ethos of being a child friendly. Although you have now got Star on Disney Plus, which is anything but child friendly. But I like what would be the extension of Fox Sports on Disney Plus or ESPN on Disney Plus? Well, ESPN already have their own streaming service called ESPN Plus, but no, I know where you're going with it, because it's exactly what Sky did in the 90s. They wanted to sell satellite dishes and TV boxes, so they bought the rights to the Premier League. And it's exactly what ITV Digital did in the 90s when they were on digital and they wanted people to switch from Sky to cable. So they bought the rights to the Premier League and overpaid on the Football League rights because they thought, oh, people just love football. They'll just want to watch football. Well, they didn't bank on the fact that no one wants to watch Gillingham versus Crewe Alexandra on a Saturday at 12 o'clock and pay, hundreds of millions of pounds, which led to that company's inevitable demise. Even Setanta... they were never selling boxes or anything. I really don't know what their business model was, to be fair to them. But with BT, it was all about selling broadband. It was about, you get this box, a UView box, which requires a strong internet connection, and you can have BT Sport then. And even with BT Sport and EE, it's meant to sell phones and sell phone contracts. Sport will never... The sport on Sky and BT doesn't make money for them, I would say. The Premier League rights certainly don't make money for them. It's a product designed to sell other products. And for Disney, I just don't see... It's Disney. People know what Disney is. They don't need the Premier League. Amazon, do they really need it? Well, I'll go back to the previous bidding rights, because the Premier League thought they were going to be a bit clever in 2018. When they had were essentially presented with a 10% drop in revenue once it was all said and done, because BT and Sky had just essentially said, we're not going to pay as much because we don't think it's worth our investment. The Premier League went, okay, then we'll just take these packages, we'll create these new packages, and we'll sell them to whatever streaming service gets them, and we'll get hundreds of millions of pounds, and that'll make up the difference. They didn't. They got 90 million quid from Amazon, which, all said and done, once the deal was complete, was a 10% drop in revenue. It is not the Premier League's decision whether the current TV deal rolls over. It's actually the government's decision whether it rolls over or not. I don't think it should roll over. I think they should have a bidding war for it, and I think you'll see... The last one was 4.7 billion. The one before that was 5.1 billion. I think you'll see something in the 3 billions, because I think... People and you know why? You want to know why I want the bidding rights to the bidding rights to go ahead, because it would make the top clubs tighten their belts, and it would bring down wages, and it would bring down transfer fees, and it wouldn't decrease wages. It would just it would decrease transfer fees, and it would make clubs a lot more fiscally frugal, and that is something that I think is incredibly important given the post-pandemic world that we will soon, hopefully, fingers crossed and touch wood, all be living in. I would say that is a no-brainer. And if BT, based on that, want to sell their sports channels, by all means, you can sell them to whoever the heck you like. Maybe, here's a controversial one, sell them to the Saudis. Sell it to the Saudis. Maybe beIN Sports in Qatar buys it, and it becomes beIN Sports UK or something like that. I mean, they already own channels across Europe. There are many different companies that could essentially buy BT. ITV is not one. I think if you're banking on that one, I would hasten to add that ITV does not have the capital to fully buy out BT Sport. It makes zero business sense for them. apart from acquiring Champions League football and Europa League and maybe a free-to-air Premier League game. It makes no sense to their business model. It would have to be, if it's, because we still don't know whether it's a full sale. If it's a full sale, then ITV haven't got a chance. If BT are looking for a business partner, ITV could be a business partner, but they wouldn't. ITV just could not buy that company outright. They could not buy BT, the sports division of BT. They could not afford to buy it outright. With the amount of money they have to spend on TV rights for different sports, that would be a very difficult takeover to swallow if you're an investor into ITV PLC. You just would not. You would essentially just vote against it because it's costing you a lot of money for what have ITV got to gain from it? Like, they're not selling digital. It's not the early 2000s. They're not selling digital boxes. They're not telling you to unsubscribe from Sky to ITV Digital. They're not doing that. They don't have that. The only way, as you said, Tom, they could make their money back would be through commercials and selling advertising space, and they wouldn't ever make that money back. So it makes zero sense to me from a business point of view that ITV would buy it. And quite frankly, if ITV then did buy it and say, okay, we're going to bring back our old subscription model for sports channels, say ITV Sport Selects, ITV Sport Plus, and ITV Sport Digital, or whatever it was called back in the day. They then have these sports channels that no one would subscribe to, because let's face it, people pay enough for Sky. People ain't gonna buy, if you're ITV and you restart your sports channels again through BT. You're gonna shove a game on every week from the Premier League or free to air, maybe the lunchtime or the 5 p.m. game. Or the lunchtime game as it is now with BT. You show that free to air every week. Well, that's about the only game that BT show per week, apart from the occasional Sunday one. So you're giving your prized asset away for free. Okay, the Champions League makes a little bit more sense, but BT have paid astronomical amounts of money for that. And the Champions League, once the rights go for sale, they are not going to make as much money as BT. BT paid for them. They're going to have to accept a loss on that. And what other investments? I mean, BT have lost the rights to women's football to Sky and the BBC. So the WSL is moving over to Sky and BT. What other sports does BT have that I mean, the Bundesliga on ITV, we've had that. The Bundesliga highlights have been on ITV4. I don't see ITV selling subscriptions for Bundesliga football or Ligue 1 in France, unless they bought the rights to La Liga, which would cost them a pretty penny, and I don't see that happening either. I just don't see where they would. I mean, okay, maybe they can shove MotoGP on free-to-air television, but ITV Sport back in the day had Formula One, it had boxing, it had all these different things, and also, to end this, ITV thought, you know what, we can challenge Sky at their own game a couple of years ago when they decided, we're going to make ITV box office. ITV box office became a thing. And the thing about ITV box office is that it lasted about 2 years before they were like, well, we had the World Boxing Super League, or the World Series of Boxing or something like that, from whatever Arab state decided to put all the money in. And I think they had like that for 3 years, and then they had AEW pay. Like, I think they had literally 2 AEW pay-per-views before they were like, nah, we're done. And then that all went over to the Fight app. And yeah, I think that was it. They had like their choice of pay-per-view boxing matches was crap, and then they just lost the rights to boxing. I think ITV don't even show boxing anymore because they lost the company that they had, which I think was Frank Warren's promotion. Decided no, there's more money to go over to BT or wherever. So actually, no, BT do own boxing rights, and they also own Box Nation. So actually, ITV could well, it's a hypothetical. Well, this is the football show, not the boxing show or whatever like that. It's an idealistic world. Probably Amazon. But then again, why would Amazon do it? I don't. You probably seek a traditional. A traditional broadcaster would be interested. I can see that, but why would an online streaming service like Amazon be interested? Disney, nah, not going to happen. I just don't see that happening. And who was the other one that they were looking at? It was Amazon, Disney, that the Financial Times, ITV. Oh, DAZN. DAZN, I could see them doing. DAZN, I could see that happening because they want to make a play in the UK, and at the moment they don't have a UK version of their streaming service, despite being a British company. They do not have a UK arm of their app, but they want to be known as the Netflix of sport, DAZN, and they've made massive plays. So they own all of Matchroom Boxing's rights for the United States, which is why we saw Anthony Joshua go to Madison Square Gardens, because that was paid for by DAZN, because they wanted Anthony Joshua to fight in America so they could sell more subscriptions. Then he got his ass handed to him by what did Keith Lemon call Anthony Costa in Bo Selector when he was dressed as Craig David? Oh yeah, that's right, a fat fucking Mexican. So yes, Anthony Joshua got beaten by a Mexican fighter that is actually, looking good nowadays. Although he did get his ass handed to him in the rematch. But yeah, DAZN, they already own the Champions League rights in Austria, Germany, and Switzerland. It makes all the sense that they'll probably just go for the UK rights, and if they do, BT Sport will not be a broadcast channel; it will be a subscription-only online streaming model. Very much looking forward to AJ versus Fury on the Boxing Fan Show. That's the Football Fan Show podcast done for the week. We're back next week, but we're back if you want to watch us live on our Twitch channel. I'm not sure at the moment. I think we're on a Sunday because the Football League matches are at Sunday noon, so we'll be on after that. So we won't be on Saturday night, we will be on Sunday, and it'll probably be a full day of broadcasting as well on twitch.tv/The Football Fan Show. And don't forget, in the meantime, you can check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/The Football Fan Show. Tweet us, go on our Twitter at TFFS Live, at The Football Fan Show on TikTok, and it's Instagram.com/The Football Fan Show, where you can watch your news headlines, your football news in 60 seconds or less. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, where you can watch the full show, including a bit that's not in the podcast, which is all about our beloved Swindon Town Football Club. That's all on our YouTube channel. That didn't make the podcast. The whole rant and this article from joe.co.uk, the Footballing Joe, about Swindon Town, that didn't make the podcast. You need to go to our YouTube channel or Twitch channel to go watch that. Until next week, have a fabulous week. Thank you very much for tuning in.